everybody. My name's Caesar. I
And
disappeared. My computer is playing tricks today. All right, this should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Caesar.
And I'm Martha.
And welcome back to the 24th episode of In a Wider Screen, where
Two idiots who know nothing about movies talk about movies.
I hear 24 and I think of Kobe. Rest in peace. Actually, that's my AirPod case, number 20.
That's yours, your AirPod case.
Number
Yeah.
24.
If we could ever
All right.
see it,
You
or
could
you.
see it. That's fine. Anyways, yeah. So we're gonna do in studio today, but
It's been a day.
It's been a day. It's been stressful. So we're just like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll just we're
Zoom.
we're fine. We'll Zoom for here today.
Yeah, it's been
But-
a week. It's been a month.
Yeah. It's been.
It's been.
Yeah.
So, you know.
You know what? We didn't do this last week, so I almost forgot to do it this time. Your riddle, Martha. How many animals did Moses take on the ark?
It wasn't Moses.
Are you sure?
I don't know much about the Bible. That's
Are you
it.
positive about that?
Yeah, it's Noah. It's Noah's Ark.
Yeah, he didn't take anyone.
I went to church school when I was little. I might
did?
have gotten kicked out of church school, but I was there at one
See,
point.
a true church school person would know that it's actually called Sunday school.
Yeah, like I said, I got kicked out. So
Didn't get that far to learn what you were there for. Got it.
they said, you got too many demons in you, please
Yes.
leave. So,
Be gone.
you know.
Yeah, basically.
Be gone, beast. Yes.
All right. Well, that went poorly once again for me. That's fine.
One of these days, buddy.
I'll try. Well, you were telling me that you actually did manage to watch some movies this week off camera.
I did. Yeah.
Did you want to share those?
Yeah. So, first of all, if you follow us on Twitter, you will have seen that we went to go see Dear Evan Hansen. So that was the first movie we saw. So that was cool. Yeah, we did a quick little, spoiler-free review of the movie.
Yeah.
I think overall the movie it's gotten some not the best press.
That's
That's
been
for sure.
bashed by critics.
Yeah,
Let's just say, and the media in general.
Yeah.
But the audiences love it. The people that did go see it love it. Though, to be fair, there
Yeah.
weren't that many people that went to go see it. Did not make much money at all this weekend. But
That's fair. Yeah.
the few people that did see it liked the movie. So, I mean, that's something.
Yeah. I mean, I think, is it a perfect movie? No. Did I enjoy the movie like 100%? Maybe not 100%, but like I sat there. I was entertained by the movie, which is what a movie's supposed to do. I enjoyed the music because I've already loved the music. I think, it was good. It wasn't the best cinema, that's for sure, but it wasn't terrible. I don't see it being like called a terrible movie.
Yeah. I think a lot of people that just think it's terrible just also have a problem. I mean, it mainly comes down to two things. One, the whole Ben Platt thing, which I feel like too many people have already talked about. So I don't really want to get deep into that. But also, a lot of people just have an issue with just the premise itself of the play, like the source material in general. That's up to you how you view that or not. I feel like the movie didn't really. I mean, yeah, he's the lead, so like you're gonna feel inclined to like root for him, but like I don't think they ever like endorsed or like condoned his actions.
I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I don't think that it necessarily tried to make him look like a good guy in the end. They like
It's just
recognized
a guy. They want you to understand, I guess.
It's a guy who had flaws and he made mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's human. So
right. I mean, I wasn't passionate about either way. Where it's like I'm gonna vehemently I'm just gonna defend everybody who's saying stuff. I'm also not like I liked it. I was satisfied watching it. And this coming from someone who knew nothing about it going into it, I'm like you were singing like all the songs in the theater, at least the ones that they kept in the movie.
Yes.
But I thought it was even. I mean, just to touch on Ben Platt, does he look 40? Yes, and it is a little distracting at points. But I think he's. I mean, there's a reason why he portrayed this character again. Like he's so good at it. Like I thought he was great.
He is an incredible actor, and I think he did a wonderful job portraying a character like this. So, Yeah. I think
just
you know,
just lay off the makeup a
overall-
little bit next time. That's all I would say.
Yeah,
'Cause you made
yeah,
him, you
for
made him look
sure.
older. Like I don't get that, but
Yeah, that was not that was a thing that happened. But
yeah.
again, overall, it wasn't terrible. So that was the first movie that I saw this week.
Okay.
Now the second movie I saw, and it makes okay. So I saw finally The Kissing Booth 3.
Yikes.
I was sad watching it, not because it was over, but because I had to watch it, and the thought of us having to do a 3-part series on The Kissing Booth, which will inevitably happen,
Sure.
which means I would have to watch it again in the future. So that, you know, that made me sad while watching it.
Was this a sober watch for you?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a sober watch, and it happened. I just have a few questions. So one,
Right.
how much was that damn house that you have in the movie that you had to shoot the rest of it in front of a green screen? Literally, every scene in this movie that wasn't in the house was shot in front of a green screen,
Do you
and
think
not
they
a
spent
good
all
one.
their? You think they spent all their budget on that house so they just
They
had nothing
must
left?
have. They must have, because the whole thing was green screen, and it was so bad. It was not good. It did not look nice. Every shot was just so bad. So there was that, and then also, what was up with that saturation going on? Like, the lighting was terrible in this movie. It was awful. There were so many scenes that the actors, I don't know what, some bright light was hitting them so bad that they just looked like stark white.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
terrible. It's just, the whole thing was just, it was so bad. And the music was so outdated. I had a lot of things
It's a bad
I could
movie.
go on.
It's a
It
bad
was
movie.
not, it made me sad to watch. And the first Kissing Booth, I saw it. Was it my favorite movie? Absolutely not. But I could understand the appeal to it. I can, yes.
Okay.
It wasn't directed for me. I was not their target audience, but I didn't hate it. Now the second one came, and I hated it.
The 2.5 hour epic. That was the second one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the third one came, and it just, at this point, I feel like they were just making fun of themselves. Like, they knew that it was a bad movie, but I just, whew, yeah.
It's too much. It was too much.
It was too much.
Dude,
It
I
just-
remember thinking that the movie was almost over and there was still 45 minutes left.
It was so long.
Right?
That was another thing. Why? Did it need to be that long? It was so.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
also thought it was very bad, but I feel like I wasn't as angry about it as you are right now, because from the first two I kind of just knew what to expect.
Maybe.
It was basically kind of the same issues. But I
Mm-hmm.
did, I don't know. Yeah, it's bad. It's definitely one of the worst I've seen this year for sure. Pretty easily.
It's not good, but
very bad.
but on the bright side, it is the final one, the third and final
That's fair.
one,
We
ending
know
the
for sure.
trilogy.
I also just feel
Yeah.
bad for Jacob Elordi because he's great in Euphoria.
Oh yeah, and then he's in.
and then
this,
he's in this piece of
and
garbage, and I just don't. He's
It's
wasting his talents. But
it's wasted. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I'm just glad that it's over. I agree.
Yeah.
And Molly Ringwald, I don't know why she's in these either. But
Yeah. Why? I mean, I love her, but why?
yeah, it was just weird.
doesn't-
It was just weird casting. Anyway, that's
yeah.
We'll save that though. I'm sure when we do our
When
you
we
said,
actually do it.
inevitable trilogy spectacular.
We have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else for you?
That is it. That was all my brain could take for the
So
week.
that's fair. So when
Yeah.
you told me you had all these movies you watched this week, it was a grand number of 2.
No, I said okay. Well, compared to what I normally watch,
Which is like 0 or 1.
the one movie we watch where we talk about,
Mm-hmm.
I had an extra 2 hours of time, and I was like,
And
okay.
you filled it with Kissing Booth 3.
I knew I had to watch it eventually. I wasn't happy about it. I didn't.
Oh, sorry.
I made a choice. Okay.
It was a choice for sure. I'm
it
not
was
going
a
to comment on
choice.
whether it was a good or bad
Yeah.
choice, but it was a choice.
It was a choice.
All right, that's fair. I mean,
But
I
anyway.
won't say my choices for movies this week was very good either. Let's see. I started this week with The Benchwarmers. Are you familiar with that one?
I am familiar with that
It's
one.
a really stupid movie.
It is so
um,
stupid.
But I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think I would give it like a positive review. But I did have some fun with it. I had a little bit of fun with it.
Oh, it's fun for
There's
sure.
I mean, I think it's just there is a lot of humor that misses, which is why I feel like a little more misses than hits. But I don't know. It's a movie. It's whatever.
it's a movie. Yeah.
It's a movie. Let's see. We did watch Dear Evan Hansen. You did say that, and then I also watched. I guess it's a movie on Disney Plus. There's Happier Than Ever kind of live kind of concert thing that Billie Eilish did
Oh,
for the
yeah,
album. I really enjoyed the album, so I was really excited to see her do it like live at sort of a concert setting. They like shot it at like the Hollywood Bowl, so it was like really cool how they use that space and everything. Yeah, I thought it was good. Like hearing the album in that setting, and then I'm gonna be seeing her in a few weeks too live, so that'll be fun.
Okay.
I'm very excited. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the album, so I had to check it out. And that was
Yeah,
pretty
from what I've heard of it,
surprised.
it's pretty good.
Okay.
Enjoy.
So you haven't finished it.
No, I have not. I have not listened
Okay.
to all of the songs on the album, and I will watch Happier Than Ever eventually. But also, I realized that there were other movies that I saw this week, and I just completely forgot to talk about it.
Okay, go for it.
I babysat my two nieces this weekend, and for me, Halloween starts in like August. And to really get into the Halloween spirit, I decided we were gonna have like a Halloween day. So all day we were playing Halloween movies. So I actually saw several movies this week. I may not have paid
you were telling
attention
me
to
this.
them fully because I was still doing other work on top of that, but I was watching them. So I watched
And you've seen them.
Halloween. Oh, I've seen all of them already, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw Hocus Pocus, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Paranorman, and then Halloween Town, and then
Okay.
Halloween Town High. And those were the movies I saw. Yeah.
All in one. That's impressive. It's very impressive.
So, yeah.
I mean,
did
we'll
watch
see. I mean, we'll
movies.
see now that October's coming up. Let's see if we'll cover any of those for the show.
Oh, we absolutely are.
I
I'm
will
so ready.
Just a quick spoiler. I mean, next month is first week of October, so we definitely will. We're gonna be doing something a little interesting for October. We're gonna try to talk about a Halloween, scary, whatever movie all month long.
all the things that Martha loves.
All the things she loves. This is her time of year, so we're gonna
Yes.
make it. We're gonna make it worth it. But we'll get into that later. We're gonna focus on first what we're talking about today, as you can see.
Yes. So today we are going to be talking about Gone Girl. So
Yes.
Wow,
And
what a
just to
movie
be
this
clear,
is.
this is your first. Yeah, this was your first viewing, right?
yeah, it was my first time watching it. And you know what? Funny enough, I have managed to evade any spoilers from this movie,
That's
so
really
I
cool.
really didn't have too much information going into it. Like
That's
I knew
good.
the general premise, but I didn't know, I didn't know what really happens in the movie.
Yeah.
But what I
Okay,
do know
good.
is that it is Anne Hathaway's favorite rom-com. So
Oh, that's a good.
yeah, so therefore
the-
it is now my favorite rom-com.
Did that prepare you for the right expectations?
Not at all.
Okay, not at all. Okay, well, just to introduce you real quick, this was directed by David Fincher. If you're not familiar with that name, you should be. He's directed it's definitely like some of the most acclaimed movies. He's done Seven, Fight Club, Zodiac, Social Network. Some of those bigger movies for sure. And
Yeah.
I'll just say right now, this is probably my favorite of his. This has Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike, Neil Patrick Harris, and Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
Released out of all people.
Tyler Perry is just in
yes.
there, which is, okay.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Released October 3rd, 2014. Can't believe this has been out for almost 7 years already. It's pretty nuts.
Wow. I know. I saw the date and I was like, the year, and I was like, already?
Yeah,
like,
it's been that long. I know.
Jesus.
It was made on a $61 million budget, grossed about $369 million worldwide, which is pretty nice. Also, too, this was based on a book written by Gillian Flynn, and she also was the screenwriter on this. So she adapted her own book into the script. So
Yeah.
never
I
read the
did
book,
know.
though, because I don't read. But
Yes,
you know.
I have not read the book either. But I
I'm
do
curious.
read.
Yeah, you do. You are a reader. You are a
I
reader.
am a reader.
Okay, that's fair. So when it was starting, like, what were you thinking, like, as it was?
What?
starting?
Like, this internal dialogue that just starts you off with this movie. Oh, spoilers ahead. I remember this
You
time.
remember? Good job. Good job. Good job.
the internal dialogue of just like him like just petting his wife while he's thinking like, oh, like when I think of my wife, I just think about her head.
I just
and
think
how I
about
want to just crack it
Crack
open.
her skull and unspool her brains. I was like,
I was like, Jesus Christ, what are we getting into? I was very
Thank you, Ben
excited from
Affleck.
that point on. Yeah. Like, oh wow, like what a dialogue.
yeah, it's
To start that.
definitely interesting. And I mean, very early on, they kind of set the tone early, which I like. Like, especially one of the interesting things that I thought about, which honestly I haven't really thought too much about why they chose to do this. A lot of the fading in and out of black I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And like even I don't know if you noticed, like even with the logos, like with the Fox logo and stuff, it would just kind of fade. I don't know, like I never really thought too much about why they were doing that.
Yeah, something about this like style of how they made this movie just makes me, and I can't even put it into words, but the way that it's just like it's made with like those fade in and outs and like just like the very quiet background noises in the background of like
Of the noises in the background.
yeah, like I don't even know how to describe it. Like there's just like so many elements to this movie that are just very subtle
Yeah,
that
yeah.
make you feel almost like, I don't want to say like uncomfy, but like
Icky?
it just kind of like it just kind of puts you off is
Yeah.
like my thing, but like in a good way.
Oh, yeah.
Like it draws you into the movie because it just feels like very like I feel like I'm missing something here.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. So what like just starting off like you get this dialogue, you get like these different like scenes of this movie and you can get a taste of this different art style, which just draws you in.
Yeah.
I was drawn in immediately with things like
That's
this.
good to hear.
So yeah. So I just yeah. So it's just from the start of the movie, I'm already
Yeah.
in.
And they pretty much jump you kind of into the idea of the plot pretty quickly. Like he gets home and he sees that his wife's missing, and there's like a
Yes.
broken table. Like the glass is just shattered over the floor. There's like a little mark of blood in the kitchen. And you're just like, oh, all right, something's going on. And also too, this is when I started noticing the score, which I really like too. This was Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross from Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
Um,
Whoa.
Oh.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I thought it was great. But
Yeah.
and then so Ben Affleck, he's like, okay, my wife's missing, all this kind of stuff. I was just thinking about all the real life cases you're seeing
Yeah.
where the husband or the boyfriend, fiance, whatever, they end up being the killer. So when you have that on top of that and you see how Ben Affleck is acting, you can understand why he looks so damn suspicious.
He looks very suspicious.
Like-
yeah. And again, it's like getting into this movie, you hear his like first dialogue. You hear like everything he has to say and then him just remaining so calm
Yes.
through it all. He's just like, huh.
Very
It
emotionless.
looks like he's like, I guess someone broke in. I can't find my wife. I should go talk to the police. And off he goes, talks to the police. You haven't he didn't call the mother of his wife who
he didn't call their family until at the police station they had to tell him to go call their
It
parents.
was
They're
like, you idiot, go
Call
let them
them.
know that she's missing. But it's just I don't know. And like the detective, she seems very meticulous, but I like that like she I don't know how her character's portrayed. When she walks in very like puts a glove on, has one coffee in her hand, and is just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, that's evidence. That's evidence. All right, I think we're done
she's
here.
She's just going
and then,
in and she's doing what she's doing. Like she knows what.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't know, like something about her. Like every character in this movie just seems just I don't know. They're just all just either like they all have a little bit of an asshole in them. Like it's just like
That's
they're just
true.
not
That's
good
true.
people, and like the way they act, you just you get angry at them. I don't know. I think
I
that
get
like
it.
added to the whole thing with the movie.
I would
being
I would
very-
say the one person I think that like had the most redeemable was his sister.
yeah, the sister was the only one.
Um,
Yeah, it was just very 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 weird start to the
Yeah.
movie. Like it's just like everything, like the way that they introduce characters and everything is all just very
Yeah.
Again, like I can't even put words to it. Like the feeling that I got from watching this movie was just unsettled. Maybe is the word.
No, that's fair.
I think that's
sure.
the word I'm looking for. But
I mean, speaking of characters like that, you get Amy in the picture too. Obviously, you kind of the first thing you see of her is just kind of how they met, like how they met each other, and then kind of.
So yeah, at this point, you're hearing the story of Amy and what Ben Affleck. I can't think of his character. Nick, thank you. Amy and Nick, you kind of get like from her eyes
through her diary that she's written.
Through her diary, she's telling the story of, you know, like their love story and how it's all been leading up and who she is as a person and how she kind of had her parents kind of exploit her a little bit as a kid, you know, with the books written about her.
Oh, that Amazing Amy bullshit. You could tell like she just, you can easily just tell already how much she like hates that kind of label, because it's like, it's basically painted like a fake view of like how she was raised and everything like that. It's like, well, like it has her a picture of her playing volleyball. She's like, I didn't play, like I got cut freshman year or what, and she's on varsity. Like like she had they had a dog in the book because they thought it would make me more relatable, but I never had a dog. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's just like,
it's very clear that she's upset. But I think a few things. So that's something to like keep note of like where maybe she's gone wrong
right
in her head. So that's, you know, so you get this story being told, and I don't know, like it's just, it seems very perfect, but also it's believable, like her story from like it seems like something. And I think for the most part, like the first half of it is all real, if I'm not mistaken. It's the ending part where things start to get a little bit twisted, because then she starts telling about how her husband is now, like, she's afraid of him because he has like pushed her, and now she's like really concerned that he's gonna kill her one day. And she starts
you're talking about the diary. Right. Yeah,
with the diary. So like the first half of it is real, it is their love story. And then the second half of it, while their marriage is not perfect, she's portraying it in a way that's making it seem like he is this terrible, terrible person who will murder her one day.
Yeah, like if she doesn't do anything about it. Yeah.
And so that's kind of like your next view of this character, who all we've really seen is that he's been remaining very calm throughout it all, that like his wife has gone missing, and it's clear that like there was some sort of struggle in this house, and or like at least one that was created. And so far everything just looks not good about this guy, like at all.
It does not look good in the slightest. I thought it was really interesting, like how they had the back and forth between like them getting together and then going back to like the reality of what's happening, like just missing. And you can definitely tell it even with just the use of color, like their flashbacks are more warm tones, and the reality that they're in right now is more cold. You're like, okay, this shit's like kind of just dark right now.
You can even hear it like with the soundtrack does a good job of portraying like the differences between like how she saw their relationship at the beginning to like how it actually is in reality
right now,
things like that. So I think that definitely adds to it. Going back to our last episode, if you like soundtracks, you should watch
I would have this would have been in my honorable mentions if I had rewatched it sooner, because I really like this.
It was very, very good.
I was gonna say though, real quick, something I forgot to mention introducing this movie. This did get one Oscar nomination. Gone Girl was nominated for Best Actress for Rosamund Pike at the 87th Oscars. I think it should have gotten more than one, but
for sure. But
anyway.
Best Actress, I could see that she did an incredible job. She does a good job being an actress playing an actress.
Basically, right?
So she does a very good job with that. I think it's very impressive.
Then they start like kind of talking to him at the police station. They're like asking questions about his wife, like does she have any friends, blah blah blah, what does she do during the day. And then they asked him about like his blood, like his wife's blood type, and they were like, you don't know your wife's blood type? And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, am I supposed to know, like, my girlfriend?
I don't even know my blood type.
I don't know mine. I'm like, am I supposed to know my girlfriend's? And then they were like, should you know your blood type? No. I'm like, okay, we're good.
I know that. It's clear that they're just trying to like target him a little bit more, because unfortunately, it's the reality is that oftentimes it is the husband. So, so already they kind of have an eye on him. But again, it's just like that scene just adds another layer to, okay, this guy definitely looks like a suspect in the eyes of the watcher. Because again, you've only heard her side of the story that she's made up in this diary, and you've only seen these angles of him. So, you know, as the movie goes on, a little bit more gets revealed. But as of right now, it's very clear that it's like he must have done something like to the audience.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally, like you're saying, he's just, I can't think of anyone in that moment right now that would be so suspicious. Like, the dude's not showing any emotion when they go to that press conference, and he just is in front of the picture and he just smiles
for the picture. It's, oh my God. Like, how stupid do you have to be? Like, I mean,
he's the, I mean, we'll see the more of this later, but he's the biggest moron in this.
Oh, absolutely.
He's incredibly stupid. It's just weird. And then you have her parents there too, like, bring our amazing Amy home. We have our website, findamazingamy.com. Like, Jesus Christ, your daughter's not a fucking book. Like,
yeah,
it's a real person.
It's a real person, and it's clear that there's definitely a disconnect there between her and her parents and with their relationship.
Yeah.
And they seemed like very selfish people. So again, all around, all of these characters just seem like terrible people. And it just, again, it just adds another layer to that, like, unsettling feeling. And it's just, because these characters are just, wow. Like, you just, ugh. But anyway, so they kind of, this is kind of like really sped up this whole space where it's like, okay, she's missing. We need flyers. We need press conference. We need vigil. Like, we need
volunteers to go look for her.
Yeah, like, this was all happening really fast. And I don't know the system of, like, how that works with a missing person. I mean, I'm sure that it's like, because obviously it's time sensitive. So maybe I'm sure that they're really quick.
Maybe because they live in Missouri and they have nothing else to do. I don't know.
That could be it. Yeah, that does make sense. But I don't know. It just felt very, I don't know. It was very rushed, but maybe it was supposed to be. And again, I don't know I'm not a detective.
Yeah. I think it's good that you aren't.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't solve very many cases. No. I would probably cause more trouble than anything
You'd probably
else.
Cause more trouble than fix. Yeah, I agree.
So, that would be an issue. But again, it's all very rushed. And again, because it was so rushed, I felt so unsettled watching the movie. Yeah. It's just, there's so many elements to this movie that just make you feel very, like...
There's so much... For as long as a movie this is, there is so much packed in, like, every... Like, something's being revealed or, like, kind of questioned at, like, every scene. Like, it always just keeps you on your toes whenever you think you might know where it's going. It's like...
Changes.
No. Yeah. It just changes it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what makes this movie so interesting to watch, and, like, something that you can actually enjoy sitting there watching a 2.5-hour movie.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we didn't mention, so one of the things they first notice when they look in his house are the clues that she left, because on their anniversary every year they do, like, a treasure hunt kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you see the clues. I'm like, okay, what's she doing? But eventually one of the clues leads to this brown house that she refers to.
Yes.
And the detectives ask Nick, like, what brown house is she talking about? He's like, I have no idea. Fool goes to the house. He's lying. He knows where he's going. And then, like, she shows up, like, clearly, okay, he's hiding stuff. Like, maybe he's not directly responsible for whatever happened to her, but clearly he's hiding things. And then he sees the clue, and then he reads, he's like, bitch. I'm like, dude, what is happening? What's going on?
Yeah, and again, you still don't have the full story, so you're assuming the worst of this guy.
Right. And then... Then he's with these volunteers as they go looking for her. And then, like, the way he's acting with them. And then that woman, that Karen ass, like, taking a picture with him. Like, he's just... Why is he acting like this?
He's just so stupid. He's just an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, he's very, very much dumb. And I think he's making it very easy for her plan to make it through. Right. Yeah. Definitely. So, that's an issue.
And then things get so bad. You have Nancy Grace looking ass at this point, which honestly I thought I loved whenever they featured her in the movie, because I was like, she's like doing this perfect. I mean, it
It's
feels very
so
realistic,
great,
like how
yeah.
you would see like this portrayed in the media.
Uh-huh.
But then once you get into that, we find out a secret about him. He's a fucking cheater.
Which, of course, he is.
Of course he's a
because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, it's abundantly clear that it's just he makes the stupidest decisions, and it only makes sense that
Yeah.
a professor, an English professor, would
Yeah.
of course end up sleeping with one of his students.
Of course,
So,
right.
You know, that is not a surprise in the movie.
Yeah, and then
for
we
sure.
find out that like the bar that he and his sister own, she's the one that bought it. It's in her name.
Yeah.
Everything's in her name because she's the one with the money and she's the one in control, basically. And
Yeah.
and then we see, well, I think this is realist. I think it's real when he hit her, or like shoved her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much new information that like we're just like I said, like every scene is just revealing something that like makes things
Yeah.
more complicated.
Makes things
just
more
crazy.
complicated.
It's
for
crazy.
Sure. It is crazy. Yeah. No, I 100% get that. That's it. Yeah. So it's just, again, more things just keep adding up to this guy. And then just to like really top it all off, one of the neighborhood women who claims
God.
she is best friends with Amy, goes and shouts out at the vigil that she was pregnant. And again, that does not look good on him, because now it seems like he's just murdered his pregnant wife. And that's
Yeah.
not gonna make anyone
Yeah.
happy.
That's not.
So
it's not
he
good.
is, yeah, no. So he is like formally dubbed one of the most hated men in America. At this
Basically,
point.
and particularly
Yeah.
when that woman in particular, he's like, I have no idea who that is. Like, she's never
Yeah.
talked to Amy. Which at that point you're like, how the fuck do you not know that? And later on, you understand why.
You get
But-
why, yeah.
Yeah.
But it just
But
seems like
bef-
he was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before even that, then his mistress is like sneaking
Mm-hmm.
out of his sister's house, and then her sister is just like, and his sister is
Mm-hmm.
just waiting there. Really goes off on his ass.
Yep.
And then he tries to defend himself because of how Amy made him feel.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, you're the one that didn't want to like get a divorce. Like,
yeah. This is.
if you're so unhappy, leave. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. He put himself in that situation, and the sister is very, very much fed up at that point because,
Yeah.
again, like everything, she doesn't know the full story either. So she
No.
sees it, and she's almost like, "Did my brother really
Right.
like have something to do with this?" Like, and she's almost convinced with it.
particularly when she's as close to him as they show that they are. Like, they own the bar together. Like every night he like goes over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they're
to her house
twins.
to like drink beers and stuff, and they're twins, right? So you would think like she,
Yeah.
more than any other person, would know what's going on, and she's pretty much kept out of the blue too. Like, you know, it's just like,
she just doesn't know what's going on. So it's, so it must be hard for her too as well. Like, and
Yeah.
again, like we talked about, she's probably one of the only good people in this movie.
yeah, I would say so.
Because, so,
I think she's there for her brother throughout, but without justifying his actions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, she's
Yeah.
like, no matter what you do, I'm gonna love you, but like, come on now, like this is.
but you're an idiot.
yeah,
And,
right.
like she understands that everything he's done is wrong.
Yeah.
But again, that is her brother.
I mean,
and,
yeah. And then, like you said, this man right now is basically the most hated man in America. His public perception is at a bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he has to try to course correct, which, like you're saying, at the visual, like once before revealing that she was pregnant, like he's just at the visual saying he has nothing to hide. And then
Mm-hmm.
he sees like his little college girlfriend in the crowd. And she's like, asshole.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah. That's,
but then the-
again, that does look good on him. But
Yeah. But then the more we hear from him, we just realize how much more of a freaking liar he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like saying he's the one that wanted kids, not her.
yeah.
Unless that's something that she twisted.
Again, and that's
The thing
they
you don't
did-
really know. You
in
know?
this movie, it's so much of like he said, she said, but it's clear that they're both very bad liars. Like, or they're liars, just flat out
Yeah.
liars. And so,
Yeah.
what part of this is true? What part of it is a lie?
Yeah.
Like coming from both ends, and you don't know. By
just-
the end of
it's
the movie,
crazy.
you just never know.
And it's just,
Yeah.
I find it interesting because usually at this point, like in a movie, it would kind of keep us in the dark about how much of the truth he's always telling, but because we know like he's a liar, like you know what I mean? Like it makes it seem very obvious, like we're saying that he's the one responsible. And I would imagine that's what like Fincher was trying to do, so that when we find out what's actually happening, like what Amy's really doing, it's more unexpected.
Yeah. And I think that big twist from Amy comes in like pretty, like not late in the movie. Like I think it was pretty early.
It was around that. I think it was like a little before the halfway point, maybe.
Halfway point. I think. Yeah. It seems very. Yeah. It seemed very early for me to reveal it, but I thought it worked out so well. I think it was good timing. I liked that I think the timing was really well when they decided to reveal that she, you know, basically has like invented this whole story, and like they show her whole plot and like her whole plan that she did, which was, you know, write out this diary, describe this perfect marriage and how it slowly started going south. You know, she goes and she buys a gun. She goes and just like plans out like her escape perfectly. And then on top of that, you know, she gets her own blood and starts smearing it, making it look like a crime scene, but make it look like a crime scene that's staged. It's just, she thought it out.
And I think it makes sense because so far you would understand, like, because of how he is, why she would feel like she wants to fake all this and make him seem like the guilty one because of how he's treated her. Yeah. Like you get that from her, and obviously at this point it feels more one-sided because we don't know really what Amy's capable of just yet until this point. Yeah. But that monologue, dude, that she gives is like insane. And like I love the little details in it because there's so many quick cuts and like quick shots that they put in. I love the little details, like the part where she's talking about befriending the neighbor, which she calls like the local idiot. Oh, and she's looking at her with like the 3 baby stroller. For whatever reason, it made me laugh. And I just thought it was just crazy, like how much she really knew, because you're led to believe that like Nick's hiding all these things from her, and that Amy might be the more oblivious one. Or really, Nick's the oblivious one. Like she knew everything. Like she's always been in control.
Yes, she's always been. Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing. Is like she's always in control of the situation, and like as soon as things get out of her control, she figures out a new plan. She adjusts. She is very smart. Yeah. But very scary.
Oh, like, scary, crazy ass. 100%.
Crazy.
But she's smart. She's good. She's good.
But she's so smart about it all. She is just like, she has thought of almost everything. Like there's not much there that can like really.
There's really only like one thing that kind of goes wrong, but it's pretty minor in the context of things.
Which one is it?
It was later on when
with the money.
No,
okay.
maybe with the dolls. I'm thinking about. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so we see a little bit more about Amy. We see that she's made her escape into, I don't know where she ends up, but she ends up in. I want to say it's like a. I don't even know how to describe.
I don't really know what to call a place like that, but they were like staying in some sort of like cabin kind of place.
Yeah,
I don't know.
some sort of cabin thing, and she makes, I guess, friends with the neighbor, who seems a little bit off, but they make friends, and she soon betrays her. She, Amy now finds herself in quite the pickle, and now she's almost scared for it all. About like, okay, this could be an issue, because they find out the neighbor and this other guy who was, I guess, dating her, find out that Amy has some money, and again, Amy's at this point like trying to stay under the radar because she's all over the news at this point. Right. There's the only way for her plan to go
according, to how she wants it. She like cannot be found out.
Yeah, she can't be found. So these people kind of throw a wrench in that plan. And now they want her money. So that's kind of an issue. So eventually they do get her money. And she is now... Yeah, so now she's kind of like, okay, I got to think up a new plan, what I'm going to do. Yeah. And that is where Neil Patrick Harris gets introduced.
Yes. Oh, this motherfucker. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, which we should talk about 2 characters, actually, from Erica, from Amy's past.
Yes, I was actually like gonna ask you about the first guy he talks to was the one who Amy accused of rape,
Yes.
Um,
Which,
and I just thought that was interesting.
yeah. That whole scene was very. So I guess this isn't her first time framing somebody, but like,
Yeah,
again, like he looks. I mean, obviously he looks guilty because of everything that like
yeah.
she staged, but his
It's I know
it's a compelling argument that he makes that is
it's very complex because on one hand it's pretty easy to believe that he's telling the truth because you know how crazy and how far
Yeah.
Amy will go, but on the other hand it's like, well, now we know Nick is not like 100% innocent of everything. Like we know what he can pretend to be,
Yeah.
so who's to say this
So,
guy is
like-
fully, where'd I go?
exactly.
Oh, where, Jesus. Sorry.
Yeah, well, Caesar disappears. Yeah,
I'm
no,
still here. I'm still here.
It's man, I thought it was just gonna be me. Oh, yay, it is just me again. Okay, we're good.
Okay, go ahead.
This is just Martha's podcast now.
There we go.
But yeah, I think it's just again, it's just there's two sides to every story. Every character is not a good person, and they make
Yeah.
that very clear. So it's hard to believe anything at face value. Anything that anyone says, like how much of it is the truth, how much of it is a lie.
Right.
You know, and it just adds so much complexity to these characters.
It's so complex, man. It's like, yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to like be able to just like to trust anyone in this movie.
Yeah.
It's impossible to trust them. So it's again, it is what makes it so entertaining. So we hear from that one guy from her past, and then we know Neil Patrick Harris' character, whose name I'm not
Desi.
going to remember. Desi. What kind of name is that? But
Yeah,
anyway.
interesting.
So Desi is, I guess they used to date when they were in high school.
High school or something, and then she broke up
Yeah.
with him, and he like stalked her, and then like tried to commit suicide or something. Is what they were saying.
Yeah, so he's a little bit obsessed with her.
Yeah.
And knowing this, she uses that to her advantage because he's still been writing her letters. And so obviously, I don't know if that necessarily meant that she was in contact with him or not. I don't think she was, but
I don't think she was, but I think he was sending her letters still. Is like because
Yeah.
he was just so obsessed.
so obsessed with her. So, fine. So she's like, okay, I can use this guy to my advantage. Calls him up, and he is able to, I guess, save her, because she's now spun the story to him because he's been seeing what was going on in the news that she was
Yeah.
missing. And she's like, hey, like help me, I'm on the run because he's gonna kill me, and of course he's gonna believe everything he says because he's obsessed with her, and he lets her stay there with him, or I guess
Yeah.
at his other house because he's like super rich.
Yeah,
So-
he has a lake house that he's gonna let her stay at.
Yeah.
Um,
He's very, very rich, which, if she had come up with maybe like a separate plan to just, stay there
Yeah.
forever. Yeah, he's a little nuts. But he's also very rich.
Right. But clearly that's not her plan. But
But I don't think her
while-
plan was ever really about money too
No,
much.
no. But
Yeah.
while all that's happening, you can't forget Tyler Perry.
Oh, how could we
When-
forget?
When he's in the picture, it makes things so much more interesting. First of all, easily his best performance. Not even close. Okay? And genuinely, I think he's really good in this movie. Like,
Yeah,
I really
no,
like... I wish he did more roles like instead of that Medea crap.
Yeah, I think compared to his previous work, this is an outstanding role.
Oh, yes. I agree.
Yeah.
But genuinely, I really liked him in this.
No, he did
and
do really good.
especially like all the kind of advice I guess about how he should do things between him and his sister. So having an outside voice makes things more interesting.
Yeah.
And then they decide. So one of his first pieces of advice is, okay, like you're gonna go on for an interview with this like big like TV star, whatever. And you're gonna admit that like you had an affair. Like you're gonna admit to that live on air, whatever. Fine.
Yeah.
Right before they get on for the interview, they turn on the TV and the girl is in front of the press.
The
like,
mistress.
The mistress is admitting everything to the press, and his parents are
and
like,
telling the truth.
yeah. So he's like, well, shit. Like,
And again, he is now like anything that he is. No, at this point, everyone still hates him. Like they hate him, but now they hate him
yeah.
even more because
Right.
now they know
It's
that
gotten worse.
he cheated on his wife, and then most likely murdered her. So he is just not looking great to everyone. But
So
he decides,
Yeah.
the idiot decides, you know what, I think it's best if I just still do this interview.
I'm gonna do it.
And
I'm gonna do it.
and he does it, and it actually ends up going
Apparently, he kills it. Yeah.
really well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love. So first, when he does it, they don't show like the actual interview happening, like as happening. So I liked how they saved that though. For you laughing because I'm disappearing.
yeah.
I disappeared like Amy. So they.
Wow. Oh, is this what you're doing? Because I couldn't come up with like a costume today. So your
I
thing
took it
is
over
like
for
to
you. See,
disappear.
look,
You're
Amazing
gone, boy.
Amy. Amazing gone
Wow.
boy. Amazing Amy. Where
All right,
actually?
all right.
Where did I leave again? There we-
Yes, you did.
We'll figure that out. Anyway.
Anyway.
I liked though the way I liked how he directed it as they're all watching the interview, because Nick on one hand is completely satisfied with how he did the interview, and then Amy on the other hand is like in disbelief at how well he's doing, and then even the little clues that he gives, because he realizes, because first they're like, okay, you need to figure out a way to reach millions of people, and he's like, well, no, I really need to just reach one person.
Yeah.
So obviously he just needs to
And-
reach Amy. He does that. He says, I've taken myself to the woodshed. And
He
then
knows
he does
exactly what he's doing. He's talking directly to Amy.
to her, and then he
Yeah.
said, "If you can see me." Oh my gosh!
No, you can't. We can't see you.
Okay, right here.
But,
And then he does like this, the little sign, like the little
oh, yeah.
the thing they do to tell each other
yeah.
like they love each other. I love that shit. Like I thought that was just so clever, because like finally
Yes.
the dude's been a dumbass this entire time. It's the first time he's done actually something smart.
He's
you know?
actually playing the game right now.
For once. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
then,
it's-
right as things get better with him, the cops show up and arrest his sister and find all the shit in the woodshed.
Yes, because Amy had called and left a tip saying like that there was some a reason for suspicion around the woodshed at his sister's house, because they find all that stuff, then it's gonna start leading them to
Right.
to the full story that she created, which was like with the marionette dolls.
Yeah.
And how, like, I guess I don't know too much information about the marionette dolls, but from what I got from it, it was like a story where the husband kills the wife, maybe?
The
I'm
husband
not too
kills
sure.
the wife. So he beats the pregnant wife to death, basically. Like, so he kills her and the baby. So.
Okay. So, yeah. So, again, all of that is, it leads them directly to
Yeah.
exactly where she wants them to go. So that gives the police more of a full story, and again, just makes him look even worse. It's
bad.
very clear that
It's
he is
bad.
guilty in the eyes of everyone.
Yeah.
But we kind of get a turn back to Amy. We get to see what's going on with her and Neil Patrick Harris, and she is playing this role.
Yeah.
It's
To the
insane.
best of her
Like,
ability, because you can tell she is fed up with this guy.
oh yeah, she's because this guy is like, oh, he's not cool. Like he's not good.
Oh, he's creepy as hell.
He's creepy. He is like
Obsessive
He is
and-
obsessive. Yes, he's so obsessive, and it's just so weird. And I think, and like that's a situation that she maybe doesn't want to be in. So she has to quickly think of a new plan to get out of that situation. So he leaves, and because there's security cameras all around the house, and she makes it look like she was, taken by him, and like she had like something tied around her foot that apparently
Yeah.
like, she was tied up like a dog in the house
I know,
whenever he
I
would
know.
leave. And like it
Yeah.
makes it look like she had like a miscarriage with the baby and everything, with like the blood on her nightgown and things like that. And so she just thinks it up very well and makes sure she gets like that camera as evidence so they can see her with that happening to her.
Do you think so? My question for you is like, do you think like she originally had her plan obviously to blame Nick on everything, but maybe when her and Desi was talking about all the things they were gonna do when this is over, like go to Greece and stuff, she probably felt like she was gonna be stuck there forever if she didn't do something about it. Do you
That
think
might have
then
been it.
like she like kind of changed her plan, or do you think that was
Yeah.
kind of her like plan all along?
No, to take down Desi.
I don't
too?
think so.
No,
Yeah.
no, definitely not. This just happened. This was just like the
Oh,
situation
you know what I think
that she
too
had
would
gotten
change too
herself
was
into.
also when he was watching the interview, like she felt like she was reaching out to her.
Yes, I think that was a big thing there. She saw a different side of him, or I guess the side that she had originally fallen in love with. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of it. And she was like, okay. Because again, clearly mentally she is not well. And so
Yeah.
in her little brain, she was like, okay, I could fall in love with this guy again. And I can make him scared enough to not leave me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I think that's another part of it. But I don't think that the whole plot with Desi was something she had planned. I think that was something that she had come up with on the spot, which again just proves how smart, she is.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, but because this plan is so short notice, there were some flaws there. So in the end, her plan was to get Desi in bed and then murder him. Which just came out of, like, I knew she was crazy.
Yeah, but you don't anticipate that.
But I did not expect that to happen. Like, I
Grabs
thought
a box
maybe
cutter.
I thought she was going to make it seem like he had, like, raped her and that was it. And then, like, try and escape and make it look bad on him. But no, just straight up murder. She murdered him. It was insane.
The way they edited that sequence where she like slashes his throat, like all the fades in and out, and then the wow, like the music.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
It's intense. It is so
Yeah.
intense. It's crazy. So yeah. Desi's dead now. And covered in blood. She's covered in blood, but she goes back home
Comes back to
and
Nick.
returns to her husband where all the cameras are watching him outside,
course.
and she's like, my husband falls into his arms.
Fucking theatrical.
So theatrical. Yes. It's very dramatic.
Yes.
Yeah, so she has now spun up a new story for this. You know, she I don't know. Like she's just thought it all
Yeah.
out so well. So she's
And
now in the
she-
hospital.
Trying to control that narrative really as hard as she possibly can, because they're asking her all these questions and she's trying to tell her story and like crying at the moment she needs to cry too, blah 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 blah. And the cop, like the detective, is like trying to find out what's really going on. She's
Yeah,
like,
'cause
why is this? And
She knows that like the whole thing was because she's
Like-
been there from the detective has been there from the beginning. She saw that the whole thing was very staged. So
Yeah.
and at this point she's like, okay, well she's alive, so clearly it wasn't you. So
Like-
something's fishy here, and she
like,
starts
yeah.
questioning her. And is like, well, that's weird because this, like, with the
Yeah.
marionette dolls and things like the. Well, it was like they have the little
club?
the
was like a
club,
club
that
or
he
something
had,
that-
which was missing. Yeah, I think it was the club from the doll, and that was
Because she left it in because she stuck it in the fireplace.
Yeah, she put her blood on it and then stuck it in the fireplace as like the murder weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And they had already had that, and they were like, okay, well, this was clearly the murder weapon if it was a murder. But it was already there, and the gift that you were giving him was wrapped up in a shed at his sister's house. And that was a gift you were going to give to him that day. So nothing is like really adding up. So
Yeah, but-
she didn't
so then
account for all that.
But yeah, so when they ask her, she's like trying to bring it back to her and her story, and getting all emotional.
Yeah.
I just honestly, I thought it was just so funny how they were both, especially her though, but
Yeah.
both of them just faking the shit out of all this.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is. It's funny because like it's the detective knows at this point. It's like okay, she has something to do with all of this, and she is still playing that part till the end. That she is.
Oh, yeah.
She was the one that was. She's the one in danger. She was the one always in danger. She never planned any of this. She's just sticking to that rule that she has created for herself. And
Yeah.
and it is funny to watch. And,
I
and
agree.
she kind of like is blaming it on like, oh, I'm fading in and out with all the heavy drugs
I
I'm on
know.
right now.
I'm
And,
like,
oh,
shut up.
she's very dramatic. But yeah, I mean, it's just wow. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
we're getting close to the end here where They are now back at home together, husband and wife. And it is very clear that she is running things and that he has to just go along with whatever
Kind of just
she
live
says.
with it because
Yeah.
if she doesn't, then, his life's screwed, basically.
Yeah, because now he knows, like, she's like, okay, so she can ruin me if I try, like, to, like, come clean about it all. And also, she's, like, officially a murderer now, so that's something to worry about, So now the picture that she painted for herself is now what, like, his reality.
His reality is
now
gonna be
the one that, where he's like, I could actually be murdered by my wife.
Yeah.
So that's concerning for him.
I think it'd be good for you to to stay. Just
Yeah.
That's what he
Unless
feels.
I mean, if he were smarter, which he's not because he's dumb, this could totally be turned into like a gone man where he has to now escape from his psychopathic wife.
Yeah, it could be one of those. But
that could be, that could be.
But
fun.
I just think it shows that, like, really, like, from the beginning of the movie, I mean, neither of them really changed who they are as a person. Like, they're both exactly the same, but they're just now pretending and they're okay with it.
Yes, yeah, I think that's a really good way of kind of summing that up. They are both very much pretending that all things are fine.
Yeah.
But they have had no growth as characters. They are still terrible, terrible people.
Yeah.
If anything, they've become worse people.
Worse people.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's something.
If anything, he's become more of a liar and she's become more of a crazy, murderous woman.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's basically the takeaway of that, of their character development. But
Yeah.
before the movie ends, we find out that she is now pregnant.
For real.
Like, for real this time.
Yeah.
So she stole his sperm from, like, the clinic where he, like, was keeping it, which he thought that he had destroyed because the whole thing with, like, the who wanted kids, who didn't want kids.
Right.
She stole it, and now she's pregnant. And now he is very much stuck there. Like, there's no escaping. He's there forever now. So yeah,
They're
so
just
that's
stuck. And then you get the same shot as the opening with her, patting her and, like, rubbing her hair.
and
like
the same dialogue, which makes so much more sense now. Like, then because at the beginning it sets him up to be this, like, certain person, but now it's like you have this clear image of who they are and why he is the way he is, and, like, and that whole dialogue makes a lot more sense. But it
definitely makes
what a
more
way to
sense.
come full circle.
Yeah, definitely comes full circle. I love how that ties right back. Yeah, that's Gone Girl.
That's Gone Girl. It's insane.
Yeah, what was your reaction? Like, your first reaction when that happened, and then just kind of when it ended? Like, what was your thinking?
I was just like, I don't know. Like, okay, I didn't expect anything because, again, I managed to, like, stay away from all the spoilers, and I tried not to, like, think far ahead into the movie and like, try and figure out what was going to happen. I wanted to be, like, a genuine surprise. So I just kind of, like, sat back and I watched, and I was like, okay, so this is what's happening. Let me just take in information as I go. But it's just like, there's just so much to this movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, it's just all of these characters and like, again, like, we've talked about this, like, who do you trust in this movie? Like, who is telling the truth? Like, what really happened? It's just, the whole, like I said, I've said it a lot of times throughout this episode, but it's just like the whole movie just made me feel very, like, unsettled.
Yeah.
The characters all were just not good people. And it's just, I don't know, just this movie was just very weird. I mean, I very much enjoyed it. I think it kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. Or, like, not on the edge of my seat necessarily, but it just it kept me engaged into the movie. Like, there was never I don't not that I can recall, but there was never really a dull moment in this movie that I was like, okay, I'm kind of bored.
I agree with you. And particularly for a movie as long as it says, it's very impressive.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's something definitely to note there. It's a very long movie, but for me to be able to just, like,
it doesn't feel long though. Like, I didn't feel like I was watching it for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, no, it doesn't feel like it at all. So I definitely agree there, and I think that's a testament to just how good of a movie it is and how
Yeah.
entertaining it is, because the
Yeah.
story is super entertaining.
Yeah, I agree.
It's insane.
It's yeah.
Yeah, which makes it so
Definitely.
entertaining. So
What did you think of the performances? Because I thought Ben Affleck was great, really
they
great.
were so great.
Yeah.
It was very impressive, their performances, both of them. I think they did an incredible
Yeah.
job. She did a great job acting, like the psycho
Oh yeah,
character, and he did a good job playing just a complete idiot who's just oblivious, but is
Yeah.
also a very terrible person. Just like
terrible person
everything
is too. Yeah,
is just they played their characters very well. I think the acting was incredible.
yeah. Especially, I think especially her. I was definitely came away more impressed with, particularly like you're saying, like she's basically an actress playing an actress in a way. Like she's pretending for a lot of this, and I just liked how well she's able to portray a woman that's like she's in control of herself, right, and like control of her relationship, regardless. So regardless of whether she's being like that cool girl that she was talking about in her monologue that like Nick wants her to
Yeah.
be, or like she's gonna be that crazy woman that just fucking murders people. Like regardless of
Yeah.
what it is, like she's just great doing whatever it is.
Yeah, she's
Um,
great with it. Yeah, definitely. I
Uh,
think, and
and
I just think her character is also just super interesting. I mean, the
Yeah.
characters are really interesting in this movie. So, being able to get good actors to play these really intense, complex roles,
Yeah,
I think they did
yes.
a very good job with it.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have any final thoughts on the movie?
Wow. I think that's the only thought.
That's an appropriate final. Yeah. Final thought.
It's the only final thought I had about this movie. It was just like, wow.
Yeah, like
Because it was very, very well thought out, I think, the
Yeah.
storyline of it all. The storyline's great. The characters are all well written. Just everything about it, I think, was really good. It was a very
Yeah.
good movie.
I'm glad you liked it a lot. That
Yeah,
makes
I did enjoy it.
this is one of your few like first time watches on this show.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
remember what the other one was.
I gotta say, it's probably, Anne Hathaway was right. This is a great rom-com.
Rom-com, 100%.
Yeah.
I did want to quickly shout out David Fincher because I think throughout the movies I've seen from him, he's never been like a director that's all that flashy or showy. Like there's not a lot of style in his movies, I guess I would say. Like that style that you could tell, okay, that's his stuff. But like, I feel like in this case it just works because it's just the important thing is just telling the story.
Yes.
And he does it like so well. It keeps it on your toes, and it's just so tense and dark, but like still entertaining and unpredictable and all that kind of thing. Like you were saying, like I just think for a 2.5 hour movie, like the pace is like it's just so well done. Like parts of it's like a murder mystery, but then when you find out what happens, it's kind of like a psychological thriller. Like you don't.
Yeah.
It just kind of it's always just keeping you on your toes, turning into different things like that. And I think some of my like most entertaining movies are just ones like that where like obviously I'm not gonna compare these two, like they're not very similar, but Knives Out, for example, I guess was another movie that like once you think you know where it's going, it kind of just you're like psych, it's not, it's something different.
Yeah.
You know.
It changes things up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, I agree. It's a good movie all around, I think. But yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a damn great movie. What would you give for a rating for this?
Yeah, okay. So score, I think I would give this movie I want to say maybe a 9. I think a 9 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah. It was a really good movie, I think,
Okay.
overall. So yeah.
Wow. I was not expecting that. We're gonna have to cheers on that because I'm
Oh.
also giving it a 9.
Wow, look at us. Boom. Cheers.
I was not expecting that. I'm glad you enjoyed it as much as you did.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. Like, I knew that it was like something right up my alley, but I didn't expect
Yeah.
it to be that good. So, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm glad we got to talk about this movie. But yeah,
too.
it was really great.
No, great movie. That's Gone Girl. So that's the end of this
That
week's
is
movie.
it. Yeah.
We're gonna get to what is a pretty packed week next week. I might
Oh,
say.
yeah. Next week, we got tons of surprises for you guys. It is our 25th
25th?
episode. Whoa! So, to celebrate our
can't believe that.
25th, I know. I did not expect to make it to 25, but here we
No.
are. So, as a little bit of a celebration, we are going to be having a 2 episode
Yes.
thing going on. So
Gonna be
we have 2
episodes
episodes
next week.
One of them will be our normal episode with a movie review. But the other one that we're going to do is probably going to be a shorter episode, but it'll still be fun. We are going to do a movie trivia, something similar to what we did in the 10th episode.
10th episode. It's going to be a rematch.
Yeah, it'll be a rematch. Last time Caesar won, so...
I still have the trophy. I should have brought the trophy. I could have been holding it up right now, but...
Well, we'll have it next week.
I'll have it next week and see. I mean, I remember... I haven't watched the trivia in a long time, but I remember it being a lot closer than I think we were thinking it'd be.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to try to defend my title for the first time.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, so that should be fun. But then as for the movie that we are going to be talking about, since it is going to be the first week of October, I'm so excited, but it is the official beginning of spooky season and Halloween. Therefore, we are starting off with some Halloween classics, and the first one being... Did we confirm that was... Okay,
yes.
Okay, Beetlejuice.
We're going to do Beetlejuice.
Yes.
It is right now streaming on Peacock. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be on there by the end of the week, but as of right now, it is.
Okay, so definitely go and watch it if you haven't already. But if you haven't watched it already, what are you doing? Come on now. It's the best. It is the best.
I wanted Beetlejuice. I've never seen it. I told you this.
I thought you fixed that already.
I have not seen it. I was saving it. I wanted to wait till October to watch it.
Okay. Well, we're watching Beetlejuice. I've seen this movie 100 times over. So this will be very...
Do you already have a costume in mind?
Actually, oh no, my Halloween costume for this year is actually going to be the receptionist lady from Beetlejuice, but it's not finished yet. I don't have the dress.
That's okay.
Also, it'll be too much work to put all the makeup on, so definitely not.
No. Do whatever you want to do for it.
Yeah.
But
I'll dress as Lydia. I have all the the costumes.
Sounds good.
That, so yeah.
This is my first. I've never seen Beetlejuice before, so I'm very excited to check it out. Definitely gonna be shorter than Gone Girl, so it should work fine for our schedules and everything like that. But like we said earlier, for October, because this is spooky season, this is Martha's favorite time of the year. We wanted to do a spooky movie for every week of October, so this is gonna be the first one. Is Beetlejuice. So check that out. And so the way we have it as of right now, obviously it'll change. If it changes, we'll let you know. Beetlejuice will release that one as regularly scheduled, like our other ones on Tuesdays, and we'll do the trivia one on Monday. That should be the way it'll go. If anything changes, we'll let you know. But
if there are changes, you can find out by following us on social media. Take it away, Caesar.
Instagram, Twitter, at Inner Wider Screen. You can catch all our updates on there. That's where we post new episodes, new ideas, things like that. Can also subscribe to us on YouTube. Check us out, Inner Wider Screen Podcast. That is the name of our channel. That video you were talking about, the Dear Evan Hansen little thing we did, I also posted on the YouTube, so you can catch not just on social media but on the channel too, just little quick things like that.
It's
we had fun recording a little thing like that. I mean,
we'll definitely be doing that again.
We'll definitely be doing that more often when we go see movies together. And then what's the last thing? Audio, headphones. If you are listening, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anything else, we're on there. So, if you can't quite have YouTube open, that's all good. If you're like driving to work or...
Yeah, but this episode will be fun to watch because now Caesar, if you put your arm down, you were just a floating head before.
I was a floating head. So I'm gone.
Now it's...
I've never had this many issues with my camera before. But if you want to see entertaining stuff like this, my visual presence today, then you can check out our video edition on YouTube. But
that is it.
I believe that does it for our episode. Martha, do you have anything else to say before we sign off?
Y'all are awesome.
Yes, that's all. I did not mention this. I know this was like 2 episodes ago. We got way more support on the Train to Busan episode than I expected.
Oh yeah, I know.
Thank y'all so much for that. That was easily the highest viewed episode that we've had since the Percy Jackson one, which still is crazy. We're still getting views from that. I don't understand.
Does not make any sense. But thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys are enjoying us,
yes, I checked the stats. A lot of the views are actually from South Korea, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
I know.
Okay.
So you know what that tells me? We need to do more foreign movies. 100%.
Absolutely. Wow.
But I will say, just to piggyback on the subscribe thing though, a lot of y'all that watched it aren't subscribed. Naughty. You can't do that. You gotta subscribe to our YouTube channel. Come on.
Yeah, but definitely,
well, yeah,
definitely
well,
subscribe, follow us.
Yes, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching, for listening, and we'll see y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.